And it's my honor to be here today to receive their blessings through you, and also on this very special occasion, the moment when Swami Sri Yukteswar left his limited physical body and entered into his cosmic, unlimited self. Please close your eyes, and I ask you to visualize yourself with the masters. They're in front of you, they're all around you. And as we invoke each one of them, imagine yourself bowing at their feet, taking their darshan and their blessings, and especially today, Swami Sri Yukteswar. Take a moment to see them go to your favorite place, find them there. And let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters of self-realization, Jesus Christ, Krishna Babaji, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, beloved Guru Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints and sages of all religions, humbly we bow to you all, asking for your blessings at this sacred moment. Beloved Swami Sri Yukteswar, help us to feel your presence, your undying blessings on our spiritual practices and on our daily lives. Help us to achieve in this very incarnation freedom from all delusion. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let's chant together. And this is a chant that Swami Sri Yukteswar liked. One of Swami Kriyananda's favorites, one of our favorites. And it says something about the consciousness of Swami Sri Yukteswar. So please sing. It's important for chanting to have its effect on us spiritually, that we actually sing and not think of it as a spectator sport. No birth, no death, no As you focus your gaze upward gently, try to visualize the eyes of Swami Sri Yukteswar ji. Through his eyes, the doorway to his infinite consciousness, and hold that image as you meditate. And as you feel the movement of breath, feel that he is breathing his infinite consciousness into you, through you, transforming your every thought.
refreshed and sanctified with the sunshine of the day, I pass through the portals of evening, dimly adorned, to enter into the temple of heaven and worship thee. I worship thy spirit of approaching calmness. What prayer shall I offer? For I have no words to offer thee. Patient life, a little time of devotion on the altar of my soul. Will that light suffice to bring thee into my dark temple, my dimly lighted temple, dark with my ignorance? Come, I crave, I yearn for thee, my beloved, my infinite beloved. Come into the temple of eventide and receive the unctuous whisper of my soul. In the temple of darkness, thou and I, my beloved, ever in thy spirit, all the fragrance of my devotion, all the deepest love of my heart, I lay at thy feet of eternity. Receive, my beloved, receive. In thy omnipresence, I spread my devotion everywhere. Receive, my devotion, receive. Receive the call of my heart. Receive the call of the harmony of our heart. The symphony of our spreads everywhere from the incense bars of our soul. Lord beloved, by His Spirit, receive the devotion of our souls. We pluck the blossoms of devotion from the garden of our soul and make it okay. Receive what is ours, what came from thee. Infinite beloved, infinite spirit, thou hast created us against our will. Free us. This is our prayer from our mouth. Beloved, listen to our prayer. Listen to the unctuous word of our soul. Receive our humble offering in the temple of eventide.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, son. Not everybody has 5 gurus. So we're lucky aren't we? But do we have a personal relationship with each one of these gurus? There they are on the altar, and of course we can leave them on the altar. Let me share. And if we leave them there, they're going to be, what's disoccupied? Unemployed. Unemployed. We need to enter into an individual, personal, loving relationship with each one of these gurus. And this evening, we're going to be talking about attuning ourselves and having a relationship with Swami Sri Yukteswar. Is this a little bit frightening? He was quite the disciplinarian, wasn't he? I mean, this is one of the impressions, one of the many impressions that we get from the autobiography of a yogi. You know, he was rather strict with his disciples and with Master. But Swami Sri Yukteswar is so much more than that, and he can be so much for each one of us. I'd like to, there is a phrase, okay, this is my last day here in India. And tomorrow evening, my husband Arjun and I, we're going to be leaving. We're going back to Italy. And all day long, we're going to be saying, Arrivederci. Arrivederci. That's how you say goodbye in Italian. But it doesn't mean goodbye. Does anybody know what arrivederci means? Until we see each other again. Arrivederci. Vederci is to see each other. And there will come a moment when we will see each other. Now, our masters, when they left their physical body in this incarnation, they said, Arrivederci, ragazzi, until we meet again. Well, I mean, Babaji, he hasn't gone, has he? He's always with us in a physical form here on this planet Earth, working behind the scenes to keep this planet from exploding and humanity surviving. So we haven't needed to say arrivederci to Babaji. And Lahiri Mahashaya, when he left, where is he now? He's with Babaji in the Himalayas, you know, probably in his astral form. And so he's around somewhere. Jesus Christ. Master said that in these past 2,000 years, Jesus, the Christ, he has and will again incarnate. So arrivederci is very appropriate because it goes and he's going to come back again. What did Master say? Is he going to come back? He's going to come back into Himalayas when? 200 years after his passing. So we're getting closer and closer. What is it about? And it's getting closer to the 100 mark now. Of course, we won't be here in this physical body, but if we have to come back to this planet, there will be Master again. What about Swami Sri Yukteswar? Was it an arrivederci or was it a ciao? Let's see what Swamiji has said about this. Sri Yukteswar didn't want disciples, Master remarked. Few could take his penetrating insight into their weaknesses, an insight which he never hesitated to reveal. Let me stop here for a moment. Do we want our weaknesses to be revealed? We should, because it's only in this way when we can see them. When I've always felt that when a situation in our life becomes absurd, do you know what I mean? I mean, when it has gone is so far that it's in the realm of absurdity, that it's at that very moment that the guidance of the gurus, that their presence, their messages are coming to us. Because the moment when we say, this can't go any further, then we realize that there are other ways. So we need to have these moments revealed to us. I mean, in a way, we need to hit rock bottom, whether it's in our spiritual life, our practical life, our business life, our family life. We have to get to that moment where we see it. It's clearly revealed and the absurdity of it all. So this is what Sri Yukteswar helps us to do. So don't be afraid to pray to him and let him reveal to you the weaknesses, because only then can we discover our strengths. Master said, God didn't make this world to crush you. He made this world and its challenges to strengthen you. We don't know how strong we are. There is a Superman, there is a Superwoman, there is a super soul in each one of us. And until we get to those moments, little ones, big ones, where the cracks are revealed, then we dig deep and we begin to discover the strengths. Because I remained loyal to him, I found God. By converting me, he converted thousands. Master, I inquired, this is Swami speaking to Master, I think. Master, I inquired, might Sri Yukteswar's strictness have been due to his foreknowledge that he would not be returning to this material plane of existence? Was it not that most of his real disciples were free already, and he was simply being careful not to assume responsibility for any new ones? That's right, Master replied. He had a few stragglers this time, that's all. Now this is Swami Sri Yukteswar speaking about where he is now. As prophets are sent on earth to help men work out their physical karma, so I have been directed by God to serve on an astral plane as a savior. It's called Hiranyaloka, or illumined astral planet. There, I am aiding advanced beings to rid themselves of astral karma and thus obtain liberation from astral rebirth. The dwellers on Hiranyaloka are highly developed spiritually. All of them had acquired in their last earth incarnation the meditation given power of consciously leaving their physical bodies at death. No one can enter Hiranyaloka unless he has passed on earth beyond the state of Sabhikalpa Samadhi into the higher state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So he's not coming back. He has other work, important work in other places. And maybe someday we'll be able to get the ticket into Haranyaloka, the ticket of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So Sri Yukteswar, he's the gone guru. But where does that leave us? Here we are, celebrating, actually, the day when he's gone and he said ciao and bye-bye and not I'll see you again soon. Well, each one of our gurus has a role to play in our lives. Is Swami Sri Yukteswar responsible for us? He's not. No. Swami Sri Yukteswar is our Param Guru. He's our grandfather. Is the grandfather responsible for his grandchildren? Doesn't have to discipline them. You know, he could just kind of relax and love, you know, just give love, spoil him a little bit, knowing that it's now the father's responsibility to take care of his children, you know, and so we all grow up. So Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, he doesn't have that kind of responsibility, but he loves us. He loves us just like a grandfather, just like a grandmother. I bet some of you sitting here have grandchildren. Do you? If you have grandchildren, raise your hand. No one here has grandchildren? Now, this is a young group. Are any of you expecting grandchildren? Raise your hand. Okay, there's just a couple of you. All right, well, as grandparents, please remember where your responsibility has ended, which is raising the children and making them independent so that they can raise their children to be independent. But Swami Sri Yukteswar is loving us, and we can call on him to help us in his particular way. And what was his particular way? He helped our Guruji to be disciplined. Guruji was with Swami Sri Yukteswar in his ashram for 10 years. He submitted to that discipline. And our Guru has given us our discipline, our energization, our meditation techniques, our Kriya practice. And when we call on Swami Sri Yukteswar, you know, it took quite a while to get here tonight from New Delhi. Not as long as it took me to get to Noida the other day, but still, it was a good 45-minute drive. How long does it take Sri Yukteswar Ji to get into your heart from Haranyaloka? A nanosecond. But we have to call him. Some people before were asking me why I hadn't gone to, a certain place. And I answered quite simply, I wasn't invited. I mean, the gurus, of course, they're there and they're always going to be there, but they don't go into anybody's house without being invited. So that's our part. Let's get over our trepidation of Swami Sri Yukteswar revealing to us our weak spots and invite him, invoke his presence. I like every year to dedicate my spiritual life to one of the gurus. And this year it just happens to be Swami Sri Yukteswar. It just by coincidence. And every time I practice Kriya, I invite one of the masters to do Kriya with me and through me. And it changes day by day. I mean, it's just the feeling, I sit down and I ask myself, okay, gurus, who wants to come today? Who's going to help me? And when we invite them, and the experience is it's really doing Kriya with Babaji is different than doing Kriya with Sri Yukteswar. or Master Sri Yukteswar or Jesus. It's all different because each one of them, although their consciousness is cosmic, they have a particular quality to their consciousness. Master has told us that each soul is unique. That means you. You are unique. What does unique mean? The word, by the way, unique, this is just one of my little obsessions. The word unique is a superlative. Do you know what a superlative is? A superlative noun? It means that it cannot be qualified. It's the highest. Okay. So someone cannot be quite unique, almost unique, sometimes unique. It's just like somebody can't be just a little pregnant. It's like you are, you aren't. So each soul is unique, meaning there has never been anybody like you. And there never will be anybody like you. And each of our gurus, they have unique qualities that are special to them. And though the others, of course, also have these same qualities, it's each one who expresses. What are those unique qualities? That's something for each one of us to discover. I mean, I can't tell you my discoveries, and they change from time to time, because the more we invite the gurus into our lives, into our meditation, into our kriyas, the more we get to know them. Okay, and to know them is to love them. Back in the 1950s, you won't know this, but there was a popular song, to know him is to love, love, love him. Just to see him smile makes my life worthwhile. And that's how it is with each of our gurus. When we get to know them, and then we see their smile, we feel their smile in our consciousness, in our heart. And Sri Yukteswar, even though he's on Haranyaloka, he is ever ready to smile in our hearts and to love us like a grandfather and to help us when we need his help in sticking with it. Each of our masters has given special teachings. And someday when I'm finished with the book that was mentioned, which, by the way, is on the subject of Masters' Techniques of Self-Healing, the title of the book is Life Force, the Power to Heal Yourself and Others. Anyway, once I get finished with that and a few others, I hope to have the grace to write a book called The Sutras of Self-Realization, which will be the very short, succinct one-liners, I call them, the one-line powerful teachings of each of our gurus and others. There'll be the Sutras of Swami Kriyananda, there'll be the Sutras of Teresa of Avila, of Sister Gyanamata, God Alone, Lahiri Mahashaya, Banat Banat Banjai. I've chosen two sutras of Swami Sri Yukteswar to mention this evening. It happen to be the two that mean the most to me, and perhaps they'll mean something also to you. When I read the autobiography, I don't know which time, probably not the first time, but some time thereafter, the one phrase that jumped out at me and that has stayed with me through all of these decades is this very short phrase. And it's in the chapter called Outwitting the Stars, the one where Sri Yukteswar is talking about, astrology and bangles and so forth. He's talking about karma in that chapter. I highly recommend that chapter. And all of the chapters are great. That one is really a lot of fun. So this sentence jumped out at me. It was, what man has done, he can undo. 7 words. That's a real sutra. What we have done, we can't undo. Okay. So he's talking about our karma. Okay? Because who is it that set a karma in motion? Yeah, it's we, and no matter to what degree of morass, we're in it, whatever in it is at the moment, we put ourselves there, and Sri Yukteswar is giving us the encouragement that we can get out of it. We got into it and we got out of it. The second sutra will tell us how. I'd like to read something from the autobiography about this sutra. So this is the full quote. And I almost have to eat this microphone for it to, it's not directional. What he has done, he can undo. None other than himself was the instigator of the causes of whatever effects are now prevalent in his life. I'm going to repeat that because this touches all of us, None other than himself was the instigator of the causes of whatever effects are now prevalent in his life. He can overcome any limitation because he created it by his own actions in the first place, and because he has spiritual resources which are not subject to planetary pressure. Okay. We have, the guru is not going to let us get into anything that we haven't the strength to get out of. Yeah, he puts us in the situations, but he knows that when we start digging deep, we'll find those spiritual resources that are not limited by the planets. I'm going to go on to the second sutra because this helps us to understand how we can undo what we have gotten into. For me, this is highly encouraging because we know that it's karma that holds us back, right? And sometimes we feel as though we are the victim of karma, that there's nothing we can do. We just get rolled like a steamroller, that's coming down a hill, and we just have to stand there and be rolled over. But we don't, because we have the spiritual resources. So here's my second favorite sutra from Swami Sri Yukteswar. Forget the past, Sri Yukteswar would console us. So even so, there's more, but just think about that. Forget the past. We carry the past with us. It's a burden. It's like ball and chain on our feet, spiritually speaking, and we can hardly move forward. And Sri Yukteswar is saying, forget the past. It's gone. But everything in future will improve if you are making a spiritual effort now. I'm going to repeat this twice. I've found personally that this is one of the most powerful spiritual teachings that we can embrace and accept in our life. Is there some way that this microphone is a little more steady? It goes in and out. It yeah, yeah. Okay, that's great. That's fine. You can hear me? You really can? Oh, I'm so happy. Everything in the future will improve if you are making a spiritual effort now. Everything in the future, not just some easy things or, no, everything in the future is going to get better when we're making a spiritual effort right now. What is that spiritual effort? Anything you can muster. I mean, literally anything. A prayer, a mantra, a chant, 10 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of meditation, 14 kriyas, a chant, an affirmation, but anything we can do now will set in motion the wheels of magnetism and grace that will attract to us the solutions. There's Anandamoy Ma said to someone who was asking about a difficult situation and how this person could solve it. Her answer was, there are no human solutions to human problems. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. There, sutras, it takes a while to get in. There are no human solutions to human problems, but there are divine solutions. And what Sri Yukteswar Ji is telling us, you make a spiritual effort now, whatever you can do, but now, and every day, something, and everything in the future will improve. Because when we give our part, Guru gives his part, God gives his part, and we march forward. I'd like to end with one of the many stories that are in this book, Life Force. There's probably 100 stories in the book from people's own experience. And this is about somebody who, as you will see, was in a difficult situation and made a spiritual effort, and what happened. This story is called A Divine Hand. There was no concrete reason to believe things would work out. Are you ever in this situation? Yeah. I was a single mother with 2 children, my parents already gone. It was during the first wave of the COVID pandemic, and I had no permanent place to live, no savings, no job. A part of me was worried. How can I ever deal with this situation? Another, wiser part knew that it would all work out, that somehow it was part of a plan leading me somewhere new. Although my passion is teaching yoga, I found work in a supermarket, borrowing money to rent an apartment. With no material goods as security, I did have this: meditation, Kriya Yoga, inner peace, and conviction. I knew that my guru would protect and support me. Every day in the supermarket, I transformed each action into a spiritual practice, seeing the good and God in each person, asking for guidance in the smallest thing, softly chanting, reciting mantras. Just 1 month into my job, a man who had read the autobiography of a yogi asked me for private yoga classes, private yoga lessons, paying me so generously that I have been able to resolve all of my financial difficulties. That trying period was indeed a stepping stone. I live near Moscow now and have opened a yoga studio. Although the world around me is unstable and the future is uncertain, I know that I need have no fear, for I have experienced a divine hand that is guiding and protecting me. Isn't that a sweet story? Yeah. We inspire each other, you know. I tell people I'm writing a book, you know, here's something, here's a subject, please send me, and people send me stories like this. But let's go back to the formula. Everything in the future will improve if you're making a spiritual effort now. Okay, so she was, you know, she had her kriya, she had her meditation, and not only, what was she doing in the job that she didn't like? She was spiritualizing every action. You know, very often when we want to move on from something we don't like, and we don't know how to move on, one possible solution is spiritualizing each part of what we're doing, just elevating it, bringing it up. And what did she do? There she was in the supermarket, seeing all those people. She's trying to see the good in them, the God in them. She was keeping a chant in her mind, a mantra. And she was making a spiritual effort now. And the universe responded. Could she have made that happen? Could she have planned it? No, because there are no human solutions to human problems, but there are divine solutions. So what we have done, we can undo, because we have the spiritual resources that aren't limited by our karma. And everything in the future will change when we're making a spiritual effort now. So deepen your personal experience with Swami Sri Yukteswar. You know, today, maybe some other days, invite him, invite the other masters, one at a time, all at once. I find it's helpful one at a time. It gets a little crowded. Invite them. Let them do their work. And each one of them has a work to do for us. So Grandpa Sri Yukteswar, he'll help us when we call on him, pray to him, meditate with him, feel him inside our breath, making that contact real. It doesn't matter where he is. I mean, Babaji's in his body, right? How often can we go to see him? Where are we going to find him? How high in the Himalayas above Badrinath do we need to go? The Sri Yukteswarji, from Haranya Loka to Delhi, in the batting of an eye, he'll be here. So tonight, let's remember these very precious gifts from Swami Sri Yukteswar and include him in the pantheon of our gurus, getting to know him, to love him. And one day, maybe every day, we'll see him smile in our hearts. Thank you, Swami Sri Yukteswar.